Well, one thing you should get is, well, I guess it's cheap, and who the hell knows? You never know what will happen in the future. But one thing I really like about the AR is that it's like Legos. It's like you can change the barrel out relatively easy compared to a lot of other guns. You can, take the hand guards off it a lot easier. Not so much when they're new because they're kind of tight. You got to pull this down over that spring, and it's easy to change the grips on them. It comes in a bunch of different calibers, right? You can get the standard 223 or 5.56 caliber 223, or the 7.62, either the 300 blackout, which is 7.62, or the 7.662 by 39 millimeter, or 6.5 Grendel, or the 6.8 special purpose the SPC. There's even a 25 sharps. There's a lot of stuff you get for this thing. It's very versatile, but it's cool because it's like Legos and it's really easy to change the barrel. Now, I got the kit that does the upper. It holds the upper in place and also the lower. Actually, you don't need this thing for the lower. All it is like a fake magazine. You put it in there, and if you're working on the lower, you can clamp this in a vise, this plastic thing, and it holds the lower in place. But when I actually assemble parts on a lower, since you could drop some part pretty easily, or these little springs and pins, what I do is I put it in a white plastic bin, a large one, with the walls about this high on it, from here to here. So if I drop something or something goes bing, it goes inside that plastic bin, and it's a white plastic bin. I can see the parts because it's usually black, right? I think in the future I'm going to paint the rifles just a gray, gray color, get away from the black. But and not that Magpul Dark Earth. But if you have to, I'm not into assembling the uppers, but at one point in time I'm going to need to change a barrel. And you got the barrel nut down here. You just got to pull the magazine guards off. Now with this one, you'd have to take the gas tube out. Well, you don't have to do it with the other ones, but you'd also have to knock the pins out the front sight to take the gas tube out to unsecure the barrel nut. But you got this armorer's tool, and this is the thing that grabs that. See the way this is, and see the way those jagged teeth are on there. They fit on there, and you can unscrew it. Then when you put a new barrel on, you put your torque wrench in there. That's a 1/2 inch drive, and you do it to 30 foot-pounds, and you keep going to the next notch where the gas tube, you can barely see it, that silver thing way down in there. Not the heat shield, but the silver pipe thing in there. Yeah, right there. You gotta, you have to have that notch, so the pipe can go through there. So you go up to 30 foot-pounds, torquing it down with this, and you can put some Loctite on there too. And you go to the next notch, no more than 80 foot-pounds, and you got a new barrel. And actually, I was always in the habit of getting this GI type thing, front sight post. I mean, a lot of people don't get that, but I don't know. It's more of a pain in the ass if you're going to be changing the barrel if you got this damn thing on there. But, if you don't shoot that fast, the barrels last a real long time. It's rapid fire that really burns out the barrels really quick. Faster than anything, not so much like the type of ammo. Well, it could be hot ammo could do it, but it's like when everything heats up a lot, that's when everything gets stressed out. And this thing has a left and a right, but you need this. And actually, when if I was changing this barrel, what I'd have to do is take off the handguard. The carry handle. Unscrew that, but it fits This side fits right on there. There's like a left and a right. Then you would put this in a vise, after this carry handle's off of there, and this would be clamped together in a vise. That would hold the receiver in place. Then you get your armorer's tool, unscrew the barrel. Now, this is one reason these rifles are really great, because, they're pretty much impervious to rust, because this is aluminum, that's aluminum. You can put stainless steel parts in there. This is like high impact, plastic or something like that, or nylon. This is all non-rusting. Even the barrels, if you wanted to get a stainless steel barrel, you can get a stainless steel barrel. Virtually everything on a rifle could be bought that would make it impervious to the elements. Then, it's very easy to, how many rifles can you do this to and just break them in half like this, you pay extra for that for a special takedown rifle. It's real easy. You just got these little pins that you push out, these people that are lawmakers are just jerks, man. Well, I think they got some real evil plans afoot, but there's also stupid people that are lawmakers that don't even understand what the hell's going on. To be quite honest, most people, to give you some stories even about World War II, like, of course I wasn't in there, right, but I read about things, but the average soldier in the USA was way better marksman than their foreign counterparts. Like, for instance, in Japan, man, they weren't familiar with guns. The only time they got familiar with guns was rifles, was in the military. And you really don't get that much training in the military. And you're not going to learn that much, even if you got a lot of training inside of it, even if it was a few months of training, because you're doing all this other stuff besides just stuff with weapons, right? Well, Americans, man, they've been messing around with guns or shooting guns or whatever, even if it was the 22 or BB gun, since like they were 12, 14 years old, right? And by the time they got in the military, they'd have 4 or 5 or more years of experience, or, and they knew how to shoot. So when it came into, World War II and fighting the Germans and stuff, and the Nazis and the Japanese imperialists, the Americans were very good marksmen compared to the enemy soldiers they were going up against. And it wasn't because the training they got in the government. It was because they were using rifles that were very similar in, shape and feel to what was in the military. That's one of the strongest arguments you could probably make, besides, the inherent right to self-defense. But the defense of the nation is everybody. So even though this isn't a military-grade weapon, and it's not an assault rifle, because an assault rifle is actually a rifle that can take the part of a automatic weapon temporarily, while the crew serve automatic weapon is being repositioned, whether you're advancing or you're retreating. So, the select fire weapon that's in the military, which is a true assault weapon, it's not designed to freaking handle that kind of, rapid fire, because it fires from a closed bolt position and it will overheat and melt down. But while the crew serve weapon is being repositioned, the individuals can use the select fire, which is not this. You can use the select fire weapon to, give cover for while the crew serve weapon's being repositioned, whether it's an advance or a retreat. That's really what an assault rifle is. These are semi-automatic rifles, but the thing is, if you have the familiarity with, just picking it up and all that kind of stuff, when you go in the military, you're much, much, much better. You have much better skills. Because quite honestly, they do not spend that much time in the military on marksmanship. Sometimes people fire maybe 100 rounds, or they do what they call FAM fire, which is familiarization fire. There's not that much actual, weapons usage in the military. That's why the Americans are good, because they were familiar with this stuff before they came in. So, I think there's evil afoot in the government, but then there's also stupid people that don't know a damn thing about anything. And, but I do like this weapon because, and maybe it should be a different color. Maybe it needs to be, I don't know, pale green, pale blue, baby blue, or something. Because, when it's colored black, it just looks like, I think in the future I'm going to paint these things. But, I think they sell gray ones, too. They look pretty good. I don't like the brown ones too much. Magpul, Dark Earth, whatever the hell it is. Looks like somebody pooped on the rifle or something. But I really don't give a crap. The black rifles are good, too, though, because they don't show dirt. And that's another thing I like about these rifles, because the rifles they had with, rifles with the bluing on them, and they got the perfect dark bluing, and they got the walnut and all this kind of crap, and they got, it's all shiny, and you're afraid to freaking take it out in the woods because you might scratch it. This thing, if you scratch it up or something, see if you scratch it up really bad, you just get some of your Duracoat spray can 2-part epoxy, chemically clean it, spray it down. It's good as new again. That's all you got to do. So, but I would recommend getting some of these tools. I mean, they're cheap. I think it was like $30 for this plastic stuff that holds the upper receiver. There's like a left half and a right half, but you can't have the carry handle on it when you're doing that. But you need that tool for taking off the barrel, because you got to have a way to hold the upper receiver while you're using this tool, and you need this tool to get, there's always a way to get around it. I'm sure you can get around it with a pair of channel locks too, but if you want to use the torque wrench and get it on there right, use the tool. You don't really need this thing, but I got it in there because it was only like $5 more. Because really, it's just a dummy magazine, which maybe comes in handy for doing something, I don't know what, but I got it. Just take it. And also gun oil. Don't spend money on gun oil. You can just use Mobil 1 full synthetic mixed with transmission fluid, 50-50. That's perfect gun oil. I see these people buying like these little things of gun oil for like $10. That's all you need. It's like $1.50 when you figure it that way. So, and I'll probably upload this video to both my channels, the Synergy 7 and the American Russian Survival. I shouldn't have termed that channel survival, because like I heard that's a dirty word in YouTube land, but it's kind of like a prepping channel, whatever the hell you want to call it. So sometimes I put stuff like this in there, but people don't realize there's an inherent God-giving right to self-defense, but it's also the defense of the nation. But our military didn't just get so damn good because of money. There's a lot of people that just came in there and they just threw them in there. They had like basically hardly any training, and they still did very well because they were already familiar with using weapons. In other countries, they're not familiar with using weapons, and they got clobbered. You see, that's what happens. It's the other side of it. If you take this away from the American youth, like they're taking it away from the 18 to 21-year-olds and stuff, oh, God, you know what I mean? That's crazy. And supposedly you can vote, you can drive a car. You can drive a car when we went 16, 17, I think, sometimes, or whatever the hell it is. That's a pretty dangerous profession, You can operate a chainsaw at pretty much any age. I don't think there's even a law on that. But somehow, I don't know. These lawmakers are, I know some of them are evil, but there's other ones that are just plain stupid. Or they're just going along with, what they think the major media is, or the flow, which way the wind is blowing. But the population doesn't really want these crazy laws they're making. So, but I would tell you to get the things now while you can. And it's good to have. The big advantage of these rifles is that they are like Legos. They're like easy to fix. They don't just fire one caliber. They're not assault weapons because they're not select fire. There's a whole other thing with assault. When a select fire is, you use this, theoretically, you use a select fire in the assault, or when you're trying to reposition the crew serve weapon and the crew serve weapon is down, you're putting covering fire. But this is also a great hunting rifle. I mean, because it doesn't just come in a 223 or 223 or a 5.56 caliber, as you would call it, by 45 millimeter. You can get this in. This is actually in the 7.62 to 30 caliber by 39 millimeter. You can get the 300 Blackout, which is really great because all you'd have to do is change the barrel. You can use the same magazines and everything. And, there's a thing for changing the barrel right here and this. And if you got this type of setup, you have to punch out these pins and stuff, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But if you don't have that, if you got the free floating setup, it's a lot easier, with the adjustable gas tube. It's a lot easier to change the barrel. But yeah, you can hunt with those things, 30 caliber, and even the 25 sharps, 6.5 Grendel, 6.8 SP, what is that, special purpose cartridge from Remington, SPC. It's not, it is a hunting rifle too. And it's great because it's pretty much weatherproof and it's very reliable, very easy. And it's got a lot less recoil in it because of this buffer spring thing. It just it's got less felt recoil. This thing's got less recoil than the old World War II M2 or M1 carbine. I think it's M1 carbine. That's what it was called. So, I don't know. But I know there's a catch of politicians that are just plain evil. But then there's other ones that are just going along, but they think is going to get them, in good favor with the money powers. And there's another catch out there just plain stupid. they don't do, they have never done any of this stuff. They've just been in government their whole life, That's why, if you look at the way the politicians were over the decades, there's far less veterans that are congressmen than there used to be back in, say, 1960. If the Congress was full of veterans, the opinion on the guns would be probably far different. Even our president, Trump, which I don't like the crazy witch from from Arkansas, but Hillary, but Trump, I'm not really a fan of that guy. I think he's just in with the big boys, and he ain't protecting our rights. He's no veteran either. He just went to some New York military academy. Now, you talk about JFK, John F. Kennedy, that was a veteran. PT 109, right? So, even H.W. Bush was a veteran, for crying out loud, and Reagan was a veteran. But, recent years, not really. Not really.